Making photographs today is way too easy. It's great, and it's made for this entirely new language, which I use and adore. But for art, it's become a little too easy. I have to make obstructions. I have to make rules and boundaries to limit myself, to make the process a little bit harder. I do that because it's been one of the best ways for me to learn and grow as an artist. I really started thinking about, okay, what are the essential characteristics of this medium? And I came to the conclusion that you need a flat plane, so this two-dimensional surface, you need light and shadow, and you need a moment of time. It really makes you consider what you're making a picture of. Blue Line of Woods started in 2010. I was living in New York at the time, and I was seeing these really sad-looking trees on the sidewalks, and it was kind of hilarious, and also it made me a little sad. I started to long for nature again. But I would see the shadows of these trees on the sidewalks, and I thought, oh, this is a really nice way to actually look at this otherwise sad tree. I was drawn to older technologies and the obsolete. I needed to find a way to make really large cameraless photographs. So I found the cheapest light-sensitive material, which is called blue line paper. I had a McDowell Colony Fellowship in New Hampshire, and so for 6 weeks I was able to go out there in the middle of the woods undisturbed and really start to formalize that process. It went from 3 feet to 6 feet to 20 feet to 40 feet. They became the same scale as the subject matter. It's really a one-to-one experience with that. So you can actually watch the exposure as it goes from yellow to white. And then I bring it back to my studio where I feed it through the processor, which just runs off of ammonia fumes. And it's a big tabletop processor, and it takes about a minute. And it just goes through the fumes and converts the diazosalts to this blue, like kind of intense Prussian blue. The paper itself isn't archival, so the image will fade and it'll shift in color. It goes from a blue to a purple. And so there's something nice about that too, this balance between monumentalness and the ephemerality of the medium. And it strips away the preciousness of the photograph. And it's not just the static image that's part of the piece. It's the performance, it's the walk, and it's the exhibition and the installation that eventually will go away. That's all part of the piece now. I do think obsolescence, ephemerality, and sort of investigating the natural world, whether it be the human scale, the macro of galaxies, or the micro of particles, these all fall under my interests. I think my interest in science came out of photography. Thinking about photography, the edges of the medium, thinking about telescopes as cameras, thinking about particle detectors as cameras. So this project right now is called Standard Stars. Basically, from 1990 and before, if you were going to make a picture of the sky, you were going to do it on this glass plate. It was the most economical and efficient way to map the universe. This institution, the Pisgah Astronomical Research Institute, is trying to collect and digitize these and then make them available for everyone. And I discovered a treasure trove of these images. On my second and third trips, I brought a scanner with me. I'm interested in this, where there weren't too many stars, or where maybe a cloud or an airplane interrupted the exposure, or the assistant dropped the plate, or didn't put enough developer in the tray. Those are the marks of the human, as I think a lot of my practice is about finding that evidence of humanity behind massive scientific institutions. So I look for the fingerprints, I look for the accidents, because that's something I can relate to. I cannot relate to a star or a galaxy. I have no idea what its scale is. But I can totally relate to dropping a plate on the ground and then being like, oh my God, what did I do? So that's kind of what I'm trying to get at in the work. One of them, the labels, right? Someone, stamped standard stars. So that's kind of the title that I'm taking from it right now, because it's so, it's kind of poetic. It's nice because it's like, stars are amazing. But when you're looking at millions of them, obviously some are going to be less amazing than others. So there's going to be this category of like normal, just standard stars. And I love that. But yeah, someone wrote broken on here, clouds. They didn't even write down like all that other stuff. They're just like, whatever, clouds got in the way. I want you to think heads, visualize heads, and try and use your telekinetic powers. Gut feeling came out around 2011. GUT is an acronym for Grand Unified Theory. Gut feeling is taking a lot of different forms. I did a residency at the Bakken Museum here in Minneapolis, where I was photographing children experiencing static electricity for the first time. I've done these pop-up experimental tests at the State Fair and at the Walker Art Center, where I've had people try to control the outcomes of coin flips and dice rolls using their mind. It's really becoming more of a philosophy than a body of work for me at this point. In 2013, I went to visit an archive of the recently deceased Nobel Prize-winning physicist Donald Glaser, and I became interested in his work because of his invention of the bubble chamber. These ones that we're animating right now are from these bubble chamber images where the particles are entering. We've been using toys and games to reanimate them, so we're using dominoes and dice and Rubik's Cubes to bring back these old scientific images and make them feel alive again. Do believe in the work part of it. My projects are labor intensive, and that is meditative for me. I've tried laying in a hammock before, and it's relaxing for about 15 minutes, and after that I'm an anxious pile. I can't not do that. Not make work, yeah.